Hi, Stephanie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, doing okay?
Yeah. I think I'm still pretty stressed out with stuff that's going on at school and stuff that's going on at home, but yeah, I guess I'm okay.
Yeah, I do remember last time we met that you mentioned that you had a lot of anxiety about school and that you were really struggling with your science class. Has that gotten any better for you?
Um I think science is just kind of the class that I'm really struggling with this semester, but I mean there's always a class that I'm struggling with. I always try to get A's in all of my classes, and my parents really want me to do well in school. But I don't know. School's not always been super easy for me, and I just feel like I kind of have to be perfect.
Yeah, what do you feel is one of the more difficult parts of school?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I've never really loved school. I don't really love being at school. I mean, I love seeing the friends that I have at school, but I haven't made a ton of friends at this new school. Um, but I think I just struggle because I switch schools so often and I never know what the new curriculums are that we're using and stuff like that. So I just kind of feel like it's super hard for me to catch up or to know what we're doing. And I just always want to do my best, but sometimes my best doesn't get me A's. And then I feel like I've really disappointed my family.
I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds like that must be really frustrating, especially bouncing back between schools. When did you move to this most recent school?
Um, it was just this year. So I just started. Um, so it's pretty brand new for me. I mean, I guess I'm kind of used to switching schools because I grew up in a military family and I'm still in a military family. Um, so I guess I've kind of gotten used to it, but also it's just difficult getting to a new school and like adjusting to the people and the teachers, and I feel like I have to do it all the time, and as soon as I get used to one place we move to another place. So I just kind of feel like it's a waste of time sometimes to make new friends and stuff like that.
That does sound really challenging. At your old school, were you able to make a lot of friends?
I did. I had a couple really good friends, and we spent all of our time together. Um, I still talk to them sometimes, but I mean, they live all the way across the country,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't ever get together with them. Um, so that part's hard because I miss them, and I don't really want to make new friends right now because I just feel like I'm gonna have to leave them.
Mm. Oh, I'm sorry that you're feeling that way. That must be really difficult to be dealing with, especially at a new school.
Mm.
Have you been able to reach out to any classmates or any teachers that you feel like could help you adjust to this school?
Yeah, I mean everybody's been super welcoming, um, and nobody's well. I guess most people have been super welcoming, but I don't know. I just haven't found like a group of friends that I really feel like I fit in with here. Um, yeah, so that's been kind of tough. Teachers, they're always pretty nice, but I don't have a specific teacher that like I really love here. I I guess it's just been pretty hard for me to make connections at this school.
Yeah, and that sounds, schools where you spend a lot of your time, so when you don't have connections, that can make it really hard to want to be there.
Yeah.
Um, when you're coming and we're talking, what are your goals that you want to set for yourself?
Yeah. Um I think I just really like to work on ways to not be stressed out about everything, especially about school. Um I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm just always working and I don't have a lot of time for anything else. When I'm at home, my parents usually expect me to watch my younger siblings. Um, and then I do some other activities and stuff like that. So I just don't feel like I have a lot of free time. And when I do have free time, I try to study and do my best on my homework and stuff like that because I really feel like I need to be successful in school. But I'm stressed out all the time.
Yeah. Do you think that what would you define success as in school?
I getting all A's. I
Getting
have to get
A's.
all A's to be successful, or I mean, at least that's what my parents have told me.
Okay.
So if I'm not getting all A's, then I'm not doing well enough in school.
Okay. Do you think that if you were able to maintain all A's through the semester, that would make you happier?
I don't know. I mean, I think it would. Yeah, I think it would make me happier. I don't know that it would necessarily make me less stressed out. Because I think a lot of my stress does come from like working so hard towards that. And I don't, yeah, I think it would make me happier, but I don't think it would make me less stressed.
Okay. Do you have a job?
Um, Sometimes I nanny for other families. I watch my siblings a lot, and
Gotcha.
sometimes I nanny for other families, but I don't have like a regular job
Okay.
because I'm usually too busy either watching my siblings or taking care of other people's kids.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of responsibilities between school and helping out with your family. So I can understand where some frustration might arise with not having any free time. When you do find that you have some free time, what do you like to do?
Um, I guess before we moved here, I really liked to hang out with my friends. Um, but I don't really have a big friend group here anymore. I really enjoy spending time outside. I like going on hikes. I like playing soccer. Um, yeah, but I guess I haven't really taken a lot of time to do the things that I enjoy.
Yeah. I can tell just from what you described and your activities that you like to do that you really value friendship and you really value relationship. And that's something that's really important for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it really sounds that since you've moved to this new school, that it's been really difficult to find those friendships and those relationships that make you happy.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, it definitely has been. And like I said, for the most part, people have been pretty nice to me. I just, I really miss my friends, my old friends.
Yeah.
And I think that's making it really hard to make new friends because I don't want to have to leave these new friends too. Yeah. So I don't know. I I mean maybe I'll make new friends eventually, but right now I also don't really feel like I have a lot of time for making new friends.
Well, yeah, it sounds like you have some really big goals for school, and I can really tell that you really strive for academic achievement, which is
Mhm.
really great. School is really important. Um, but also taking care of yourself and making sure that you're, being healthy and happy is important too. And I think it would be good if we could find some activities that you can do that, can help you bring you back to that more relaxed and peaceful, happy state. Does
Yeah.
that sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I have this relaxation activity. If you'd like to kind of try it out with me, it's called the 5-4-3-2-1 mindfulness technique.
Okay.
And so we'll just go ahead and act it out. So if you feel comfortable, if you wouldn't mind closing your eyes and just picturing what I'm going to tell you. So I would like you, well, for this activity, I guess this first part, you can open your eyes.
Okay.
Because you will tell me 5 things that you can see.
I can see the tree outside the window, and that light pole over there. I can see TV on the back wall, the outlets, and that cable that's running along the floor.
Okay, and next you'll tell me 4 things that you can hear.
Okay. I can hear people talking outside the room. I can kind of hear a noise. I think it's coming from the lights. Earlier, I could hear what they were doing outside in the van. And I can also hear the people outside the window talking.
Okay. Now, tell me 3 things that you can feel.
I can feel my ring that I'm wearing. I can feel the table. And I guess I have my coffee here, so I can feel the coldness from the coffee.
And then 2 things that you can smell.
I can smell my coffee. And then the air kind of smells stale in here.
I'm sorry about that. And then for the last one thing that you can taste.
I can still taste my coffee.
Taste your coffee?
Yeah.
So the point of this activity is really just to bring you back and really ground you in instance where you may be feeling a lot of anxiety. And this is a great activity that you can use anywhere. You can do it when you're at school. You can do it when you're at home and feeling stressed out. You just sit there and you can just look around and observe your surroundings and really just ground yourself and bring you back to that relaxing state. How did that activity make you feel?
I really liked it. I think sometimes when I get stressed out, I feel super overwhelmed and I have like a million things on my mind. And so I think I'll be able to use that to like just stop being so overwhelmed and like stop focusing on like a million things and just be able to like focus on one thing at a time. Yeah. So I think that'll be super helpful.
Well, I'm glad that you found it helpful, and I have a paper that you can take home with you after your session that just kind of gives you an outline of how to follow the meditation activity. So I'm really glad that you enjoyed that. I'd like to kind of go back and focus a little more on your anxiety. When you are experiencing a lot of anxiety, what do you do to cope with that?
I guess when like I'm super anxious about homework, I'll just study for like hours and hours. Even if like I know the material super well and it might not even be helpful for me to study anymore, like I'll just keep going over it and over it and over it. But usually I'll get super overwhelmed because then I think like I don't have it memorized well enough or like I miss the important parts of it. So that hasn't been very helpful. But I guess something that I do that is kind of helpful when I get really anxious is sometimes I'll go outside and go for a walk. And that tends to calm me down. But a lot of times I don't get that opportunity because I'm watching my siblings. And sometimes taking them on a walk is a little bit challenging.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it sounds like a lot of your anxiety comes from homework. Would you say that that's true?
Yeah. I just really feel the need to get all A's. And I guess maybe doing my best might not be the best way to describe that because I really do want all A's. Even if I did my best and I get a B, like that's not enough for me. Like I've talked a lot about how my parents really want me to get good grades, but like I also really, really want to get good grades. And I feel like if I don't, like I'm not only failing my parents, but I'm failing myself. And so I just, it causes me probably the most amount of stress in my life. yeah, I think homework and schoolwork in general just causes me the most stress.
Okay. So if there were to be a miracle to happen tonight and you would wake up tomorrow and your problem was completely gone, what would that look like? What would the world look like?
I guess I wouldn't have to get A's to be happy. Um, I could just like do my best and be happy with whatever grade that I got, and realize that sometimes a grade is out of my control. Like I can do everything in my power and um, still not get an A, and I'd be okay with that. But right now, I'm just not okay with that.
Sure. So what it sounds like is that having an A or maybe not even having that expectation is what would be solving this problem.
Yeah, yeah. If I didn't have to get A's to feel like I was successful, I feel like that would solve it. Or if I could just magically get all A's, that would also be great.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think would happen if you weren't? What happens when you don't get an A? What happens? Do your parents get upset?
Yeah. My parents get super upset with me, and they ask me like, well, what happened? Like, did I not study enough? Was I not paying attention in class? Was I getting too distracted? Like, why didn't I get an A? They kind of expect me to get an A regardless, and if I don't, then they want to find out what I did wrong. Um, and then even if I know like I did my very best, I kind of start to doubt that. Um, and like I wonder what I could have done to change that. Or if I'd like studied a few more hours, if that might have made it better. Um, yeah. Or if I had cut out some of the stuff that I do when I get free time and just chose to use that to study, like if I could have fixed that, if I could have made sure that I got an A. So my parents get really upset with me, and then I kind of start to get upset with me too.
Okay. Now, when you approach your parents and you talk about your anxiety, how do they react?
They don't really want to hear about it. They just tell me like this is pretty much what every kid's expected to do, and they don't understand why it's so hard for me. Um, they're not super understanding. They don't listen to me when I try to talk to them about it, so I've kind of stopped trying to talk to them about it right now. Yeah, because I just feel like they don't understand it, and they don't say anything that really helps me out. It just kind of stresses me out more because they always blame me when I don't get a good grade. Um, and then if I try to tell them like how much it stresses me out when they do that, they just get angry at me.
Okay. Well, that sounds really difficult, and I'm sorry that you're experiencing that right now. And what you've told me so far about just moving to this new school and having difficulty making friends, and just difficulty meeting the expectations that you're setting for yourself for school has been really hard. And so I want to thank you for sharing with me what you have so far. Um, what I want to share with you next is this example of anxiety that we call the cycle of anxiety. And so I'm actually going to draw it up here on the board if that's okay. Give you a little representation. So we start off with our first little dot right here, which is anxiety, and that is your problem that you're having right now. So what you're experiencing in school, your schoolwork that you're experiencing. What this will lead to in our cycle of anxiety is a level we call avoidance. And that's where we don't really meet the problem and try to solve it. We're just kind of avoiding it in order to not have to deal with it. And that part of the problem will lead us to another section called short-term relief. So while you may be avoiding that anxiety for a little bit, it's only going to last for a short term. It's not going to last forever. And that will lead you to more long-term anxiety. Sorry for my abbreviation and my terrible handwriting. So what I want to focus on for us is kind of getting rid of this avoidance piece and really finding more concrete ways for you to help manage some of that anxiety and some of that stress that you're feeling. How does that sound?
That sounds good. Yeah.
Does this make sense? Did you have any questions about it?
Yeah, it does. So I think like when I try to like avoid the problem, I think it's kind of me avoiding talking to my parents about what's going on, just because I've kind of stopped talking to them about it, and I don't know if they'd react as harshly as they have before, but I just don't want to talk to them about it anymore because I don't want them to get angry at me,
Sure.
or I don't want them to get frustrated with me, and so I've just kind of like avoided talking to them about it.
Do you think that talking to your parents would help with some of this anxiety that you're feeling?
I think it would, because if my parents could understand where I was coming from and they were a little bit more supportive, I don't think I'd feel as anxious about my grades. I think then I'd kind of struggle a little bit because I want to get good grades, but right now I'm struggling because like I want to get good grades and my family wants me to get good grades, and it's just a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does sound a lot, especially with the responsibility that you have taking care of Derek and Lily, your younger siblings.
Mhm.
That's a lot for a 16-year-old to go through. When you picture yourself without anxiety and either not having that expectation of having straight A's or even just being able to get a B and be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
What are some ways that you think that you could maybe bring up this topic with your parents where they wouldn't get upset?
Yeah. I think maybe if I included my parents in some of my projects so they could see that like I really do try my hardest and do my best. I think maybe if like I show them that I am doing my best, then they'll be more understanding if I don't get as good of a grade.
Sure. Do you ask your parents for assistance when it comes to your homework or your schoolwork?
I haven't in a long time, just because I don't know. I feel like they haven't been super understanding with me or super helpful when it comes to that area of my life. And they're busy a lot of the time, but I feel like I could try and ask them for some help, or at least for them to like look over my homework when I'm finished with it.
Yeah, I think that's a really great idea, and I think that really bringing your parents and involving them will really help them see what you're experiencing and maybe give them a little eye opener into the anxiety that you might be experiencing. So, how is your relationship with your parents recently?
Yeah. I mean, both of my parents work, so they're gone a lot. I think I get along better with my dad than I get along with my mom. It's kind of always been that way, but I really just don't feel like I have a super great relationship with either. I mean, it's not a bad relationship, but I mean, a lot of the other kids in my school like talk about being super close with their parents, and having really good relationships with them, and it's almost like they're friends with their parents, or they get along super well with their parents, and they enjoy doing activities with them and stuff like that. And I don't know. I just don't feel like I've ever been really connected with mine the same way. They're just gone a lot. Like, they're gone a lot, and then I'm kind of expected to, I feel like, do their job because I have to take care of my siblings all the time. Um, so I don't know. I don't have a bad relationship with them, but I also don't think I get a lot out of my relationships with them.
Yeah, it sounds like there might be some confusion as to what the roles are in your family. It sounds like there's been a lot of responsibility being placed on you without being first discussed with you. And so I can see where that can be really frustrating. Um, have you talked to your parents about the responsibility of taking care of your siblings and them being working frequently? Have you expressed your concern about that?
Yeah, I've brought it up a couple times, but they just tell me like it's my it's my job to take care of my brother and sister when they're not here. Um, and then they sometimes kind of get angry with me because they think I'm complaining about it. And I don't mind taking care of them most of the time, but I don't like doing it all the time. I don't feel like it should be my job all of the time. And they just aren't very understanding about it. Like, I guess they both grew up watching their younger siblings. Um, and so I guess they just kind of expect the same thing from me.
Sure. And how are your siblings dealing with the move and like transferring to different schools? Are they experiencing some of the same anxieties as you?
I don't think they do as much, especially when it comes to their homework and schoolwork. Um, my both of them, neither of them really care about school, um, and I think they both make friends a lot easier than I do. But I mean, the move is, I think, always hard on all of us. Um, so they struggle with it a little bit, but I think I struggle with it probably the most. And I don't know, maybe that's because I've just moved a lot more than they have, and so I'm just kind of getting sick of it. Um, yeah, but they struggle with it a little bit, and like they'll talk to me about it. Um, I don't know. I think they kind of feel the same way as I do. They don't have a very close relationship with our parents, but they do have a close relationship with me, and so they feel like they can talk to me about that kind of stuff.
And do you feel like you can talk to them about those kinds of things?
I don't know. I don't really feel like I want to burden them with like my problems. I feel like I'm supposed to be the one that's taking care of them, and I'm supposed to be the one that's helping them out. And so I don't really want to talk to them about stuff. Um, I just kind of feel like a burden if I do that.
Okay. Do you have anybody, maybe even a friend that you, maybe in the town that you used to live in, that you feel comfortable talking to about your anxieties or your worries moving to this new town?
Yeah, so sometimes I call my old friend Mariah, and she lived on the base that we used to live on. Um, and we'll talk about how difficult moves are, but she hasn't really moved in a long time, but like she still understands. She still kind of understands what I'm going through. And so I really like when I get to talk to her because it makes it feel like what I'm going through is normal.
Yeah, I could really tell that your voice kind of like lit up when you started talking about her and that she was a really important person and really positive influence in your life. How often are you able to talk to her?
Um, I try to call her like at least once a week. Um, she's also pretty busy, but when we get on the phone, we're able to usually talk for like an hour or two, and that really does help me out. Because it makes me feel like I have friends again too.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're having that connection, and I can really tell that you really value friendship, and it
Mm-hmm.
really motivates you. And I think that that might be why and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that might be why you're really struggling with school recently, just because you've just moved to this new school, the curriculum's all different, and you just had to say goodbye to new friends. Would you say that that's right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just kind of a lot of different factors that are playing into like why I'm so stressed out recently. Yeah, it's just kind of been like the perfect storm of things, I think.
Yeah. Well, once again, I really do appreciate you telling me all this, sharing your experiences with me. So what we kind of covered through our session is we talked about your anxieties, especially with your parents' expectations, and even the expectations that you have for yourself. That those are sometimes really difficult to meet, and that it's been challenging to make new relationships at this new school, and moving is just getting really tiring. And that your relationship maybe hasn't been the best recently with your parents. And that might be something that we can work on in the future. Maybe get them more involved in school so they can understand what's going on with you and what you're experiencing.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Good. Well, let me go grab that paperwork for you about that mindfulness technique, and then we'll go and we'll kind of reschedule your next appointment. Did you have any questions for me?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you again, Stephanie. I appreciate it. Bye. 30 minutes.